Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of IK NHL Daily Talk. My name is Iacob and I'm joined here, of course, by my other friend, my other host. Oh my God, Kyle. Say what's up to the fam, Kyle.
Yo, what's up, guys? I would also have my camera on, but genuinely, I tried to launch my camera and it just said failed to launch like 5 times. So I decided to give up on it, and I gave Jakob the option to show off his beautiful face. And he's decided that he wants to look you guys right in the eyes with a beautiful deadpan and a beautiful stash. So this sexy hunk will look right at you guys and enjoy life.
We're going to be doing things a little bit different than we normally do today. We've decided that since the World Cup for soccer is tomorrow, we've decided we are going to host a full episode just on our predictions. We're going to be making group stage predictions as well as talking about it a little bit more. And you guys will be getting a short about obviously the NHL games later on tonight after we record this episode. But yeah, we're just doing a little bit things differently today. Today it is called the IK FIFA Daily Talk instead of the NHL Daily Talk. But yeah, less than I guess 24 hours. Less than 24 hours. It's like 14 hours. The first game's at 3 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, and
Mhm.
unfortunately I'll be at work. But I'm gonna catch that second game at 9 p.m. tomorrow and watching it all the way till the end. But yeah, we're super excited. This World Cup comes every 4 years, so yeah. Kyle, any initial thoughts before we get started with our predictions for this group stage?
Yeah, well, it's definitely going to be interesting, and I apologize. I can tell that it's a little choppy, so apologize to the fans. It's a little choppy, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who watches a lot of soccer, but when the World Cup comes on, and especially when my country and Canada is competing, I have to watch all the games that we're a part of, and it's best on best in its countries, and it's always super entertaining. So, no matter who you are, where you're from, it's must watch soccer, and you gotta enjoy it. And honestly, I'm not a huge soccer fan, but when it comes to this, I'm like one of the biggest fans on the planet, and I will cheer for my team until the day I die.
That is true. That is true. And someone actually asked me today if I had to choose between any other country or Canada, and I put my hand to my chest and I started singing "The True North, Strong and Free." So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
go
super
Canada,
excited. I'm
baby.
super, and yeah, we're gonna tell us what. Obviously, you guys know what teams we're cheering for, Canada, but obviously we have to pick a European team. Well, I've decided to pick a European team. I don't know if Kyle wants to pick one. He can because I want to at least pick two teams, that way if one team gets out, we have another team to pick. So I already picked that. You guys will hear that all at the end though, but obviously me and Kyle are both rooting for the Canadians in this one. And I remember real quick, just a quick background story before we actually get started. It was the summer of 2024. Me and Kyle had both graduated high school and the Euros were on, as well as Copa America for the North American, South American, and the Euros for the Europes. And me and Kyle actually ended up watching Canada's semifinal game against Argentina. And we were so devastated when Canada lost. It was genuinely so heartbreaking. But
Hmm.
then the finals happened for Euros a couple days later, I believe. And me and Kyle actually ended up. Well, I was staying at my godmother's house for a few days because I wanted to visit them while I was in town. And Kyle actually came over and we actually watched the game, and it was actually entertaining. So I guess you could say I made Kyle fall in love with the sport of soccer.
Yeah, actually, it's honestly, I was the kind of person that I'm like, oh, this is some pussy stuff because these guys they get tapped ever so slightly and they're flopping on the ground like a bunch of dead fish. But no, I guess I mean I'll still say that they're a bunch of pussies, Jakob. They flop around after getting touched. So if you're gonna be like that, I have no respect for you as a soccer player. But the sport as a whole, I actually have a lot of good memories and a lot of good things to say about it now, and I can enjoy it. And there's actually been times where it's like I have a friend who has a brother who plays soccer, and I occasionally go kick a ball around with him if he's around. So it's fun. And Jakob, I'd love to shoot some balls on you. Next time I see you.
That we will make that happen, I promise. Whether it's here in the US or down in Canada, we'll make that happen. But I just wanted to, you remember when we were playing with Adam back in like the fourth grade or fifth grade, and we would miss the bus. I would specifically miss the bus because I was too busy playing soccer with Kyle and a bunch of kids. And I remember it was just we used to all every recess, it was always just grab the soccer ball, regardless of what whether it was snow, rain, ice, whatever. We were just kicking that ball. And yeah, I guess that's why they call it the world's most beautiful game. But enough about that. I say we get started with these group stage predictions. And
Hmm.
obviously how it works is obviously you guys can I don't know if you guys can see both of our screens, but um we're going to make a pick on ESPN. We're in a group together where we're going to rank these four countries in each group based on where we think. And then after that, they've changed it since 2024, I believe, the Euros, where if you have highest points and you're in third place in your group and you have higher points out of the 12, because it's 8 out of the 12 that can go on, you automatically move on to the knockout stage. So after we
Hmm.
predict the group stage, we will predict the top 8 teams that will finish third that we think will go on to the knockout stage. So with that being said, Kyle, let's go ahead and get started with Group A.
All right. Well, for Group A, actually, Jakob, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this first, and because I can only show my screen or your screen, so I'll do this first. And you're more knowledgeable on soccer, so I'll let you, summarize the picks and whether you think mine are good or bad while I go through this. But I'll explain my rationale, and I'll go first if you're okay with that.
That sounds perfect to me. Honestly, I was kind of hoping I could go second just so I can, maybe I have something different than Kyle. Maybe I have something that's similar. So we will see.
All right. Well, for Group A, which obviously contains Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia, I'm going to, go 4-1 for each group. So my fourth place team in this group, I think that Czechia will actually place fourth in this group.
Okay.
As for my third selection, I'm going to bump South Africa down. Oh, I gotta use the right side, but I'm gonna bump them down into the third slot in this group. And so, well, I'll have to decide later if I think they're a top eight team or not. But there's a decent chance that they could end up being a top eight team that could end up moving on to the round of 32. But my winner for Group A, Jakob, is actually not going to be the host in Mexico, but it is going to be South Korea.
Okay. Okay. I like that.
So, what do you think? I mean, there's definitely a couple upsets, like Czechia, at least according to world ranking, should be ahead of South Africa, and same with Mexico over South Korea. But I like my picks, and I think that, this is very realistic and could happen, but I would not be surprised if Mexico wins this group or Czechia ends up third over South Africa, of course.
Obviously, I'll give you my overall prediction when I do it, as I'm more of the soccer knowledgeable guy this time. But yeah, whenever it comes to my turn, I'll give you the rundown on how I think that each team will go. But honestly, looking at yours, I think there's a lot of similarity that I would have. Obviously, I will tell you guys later what I would do, but this is Kyle's group, and I want him to make the best to his ability.
Okay. And now we will move on to Group B, which contains our team. And Jakob, I think my number four in this group is I'm actually going to have Qatar, who are the hosts of the 2022 World Cup, where they got obliterated, and I think they are going to get obliterated again in this World Cup. So that is what it is. And for my second pick, or my second team, I think that we are going to see Bosnia place third. And I say they're going to place third because obviously they beat a very good team in Italy to qualify. Excuse me, guys. I'm coming down with a cold, and yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of that this episode. I'm gonna try to mute when I'm gonna cough, but it's very hard, to not cough, of course. But yeah, Bosnia Herzegovina is gonna be third, and then moving on to obviously our top two. As much as I want to say Canada will win this group, I do actually think the Swiss will win the group, and Canada will be second. So this is my pick for Group B, and really the only upset here is arguably Bosnia beating Qatar, but I don't think most people would even deem that being an upset, to be honest.
Okay, I like it.
Jakob likes it, so let's move on. But Group C now, which we have some very good teams in Group C, and I mean, obviously, we have our two favorites, and I will tell you before I even start this that I do believe that the top two teams will be the top two ranked teams in this group, but I'm going to start with the bottom two, which, I mean, I'm going to swap Haiti and Scotland. Haiti will be last, of course. I do think Scotland will be placed third in this group. But then, of course, we have Morocco and Brazil, which Morocco in these World Cups tends to kind of fight out of their weight class, but they are seventh in the world, and I believe seventh in the world for a reason. And I muted so that I could cough. Sorry, guys. But I think we will see Morocco actually place above Brazil, and they will get first in Group C, and Brazil will get second. How do you
Okay.
feel about this, Jakob?
Uh, like I said, this is your bracket. I'm honestly liking what I'm seeing so far. I think you're giving a really phenomenal explanation as to why you believe, and obviously that's how it should be, and that's how I will give it when I do my group.
All right, sounds good. But moving on, of course, we have four pretty good teams in this group. To be honest, I think that all four teams have a relatively decent chance winning this group, unlike some others. But for fourth place in this group, and I actually thought about Group D a fair amount, Jakob, when I was looking earlier, because I was trying to come up with my predictions in advance. I think Australia is actually going to place last in this group.
Okay, interesting.
Then I think moving on to our third place team, I think that the hosts in the United States are actually going to flounder, and I think they will place third in the group on their own home soil. But then, of course, our top two, which will be either Paraguay and Turkey, and I think Turkey will win this group. Obviously, based off world ranking alone, they have a more talented squad, and I think the Turkish squad is a team that can compete with the United States, and they are a good soccer team, and obviously can play well. But yeah, Australia, US, I think are gonna flounder, and Paraguay's gonna squeak their way into the second spot, and then Turkey, of course, will place first in this group.
All right, sounds good.
Then for Group E, I'm not gonna explain this one too much. I think this one's pretty obvious, cause I mean, like, come on, they're just here for the vibes. Let's be honest. But Ivory Coast, they're not too bad. Same with Ecuador and Germany. I'm going to spoil this now. Germany's going to win this group, at least in my opinion. But I think this is the first group that I'm actually going to have in world ranking order because I think Ecuador will beat Ivory Coast and Curacao, but will lose to Germany. And then, obviously, down the list, I think Ivory Coast will only beat Curacao, and Curacao will not win a single game. And I think
Okay,
that's just on a talent standpoint. And I think in this group, the world rankings are spread out enough that it will come into play and it will matter.
sounds good to me.
All right, so moving on to Group F. We have a very good group, and this is one that, like, wow, I mean, this one's going to be quite something. But I think Sweden will actually be fourth in this group, unfortunately. But moving on to, of course, the top three, I believe Tunisia will place third, as Japan and the Netherlands are both very talented squads and just obliterate both these teams in literally every regard. But I actually think, Jakob, that we are going to see the Japanese place top in this group over the Netherlands.
Interesting. Okay.
But I actually have a lot of faith in this Japanese team, and when we make our second video, I actually think I have them going a lot further than most people do in the World Cup.
And there will be a second video when we will, after the group stages have ended, before the knockout stages, where we will predict the winner of the World Cup.
Absolutely, but yeah, now we have a group where, as much as I want to put New Zealand higher than fourth, they're just so outclassed in this group, and I think they will get absolutely obliterated here. But then, of course, we have Iran and Egypt, which both of those squads are solid, and they've both fallen. Well, Egypt's in Africa, of course, and then Iran's in that Middle East. But I actually think the Egyptians will end up beating the Iranians, and then I think Belgium will place first in this group. And I honestly think 2022, where didn't Belgium place third in the group behind it was like they only beat Canada in their group, but Morocco and
Yeah.
Croatia placed above them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep,
I
that is
think
true.
I mean Belgium was definitely the favorite in that group, and they kind of floundered, but I don't think they will flounder in this group, and I think they will capitalize and get first in their group and move on to the next round, of course, in a relatively good spot.
Sounds good to me.
Now, this is a good group, but man, I mean, Spain's got a cakewalk in this one, to be honest. I don't think I need to elaborate too much on these rankings, Jakob. But this is how I would rank this group. And if you have
Okay.
any objection, you could say it. But this is what I would personally put.
Hey, you'll hear my groups when my turn comes, and you guys will see.
Yep. And this is a group where Iraq's just outclassed. I mean, I don't. I seen a reel earlier that was like Iraq. Oh, we're Iraq. I'm so excited to play in the World Cup. Who are our opponents? In your first game, you have to play Norway. Oh, Norway? That's pretty bad. Okay, well, surely our next opponent's easier. Yeah, now you have to play one of the best in Africa, Senegal. And they're like, oh. And then the final opponent was like, now you have to play France.
Oh, I
And the
saw that. I
guy,
saw that with. I saw that with the Switzerlands, bro. When the Swiss were announced their group, it's like, oh, you got to play this, and it's like, surely my last opponent is gonna be a hard team. You're playing the host
Canada.
nation, Canada, and it was like, oh my god.
But yeah, no, this is gonna be a good group. I honestly think these top three teams are very competitive. Obviously, Norway has Erling Haaland, Senegal has a very talented roster, and the French are they're always good. They were the runners up in the last World Cup, and that is not a surprise. But I'm actually gonna take Norway to play second in this group over Senegal, and I think France, who are the heavy favorites, will actually end up winning this group.
Well, I'm actually surprised Kyle actually knew how to say Erling Haaland, bro. Oh my god. I think that's the I think that shocked me. I think if you look at the back at the YouTube video when we post it, you just look at it and be like, I'm just shocked that Kyle was able to say Erling Haaland like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I surprised myself with that one. I didn't think I was gonna name drop anyone in this video. Which
Yeah, I didn't think so either,
Lionel
but
Messi, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi.
well, bro, come on, that has to be the most obvious one.
Actually, Jakob, I really like the way they've laid this group out. I'm actually gonna leave this one completely as it is. I think
Sounds
this
good
is
to
how this
me.
group is gonna happen. Jordan's obviously
Okay.
the weak team. Algeria and Austria being so closely ranked and both having just I wouldn't say mediocre rosters. They definitely have above average rosters, but if you compare them to the best in the world, they just fall into that mediocre tier. And Argentina outclasses everyone. And I think Algeria will get the best of Austria, but not by much. And obviously, they will play second because of that.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, now we have a very good group. And one team that I actually respect a lot in Uzbekistan because I don't know if you've seen the act of the post, but there was a post from the Canadian, I think it was the national team, where the Uzbekistanians thanked the Canadian team for having their friendly prior to the World Cup. And I respect this team a lot, and I actually hope they can make more noise than maybe some people are thinking they are capable of.
I hope so too, and it was a very friendly gesture by them, so we are very proud. I have much respect for Uzbekistan as well.
Mm-hmm. Which, to be honest, Jakob, I might be a little biased now because obviously they had a very good round, but I think the Democratic Republic of the Congo will place last. I do think, unfortunately, being on a group with Colombia and Portugal, they will place third, but I do think Uzbekistan will have a good enough performance to actually be one of the top eight third seeded teams and will actually move on to the round of 32, which I hope that does happen. But, excuse me. But in regards to Colombia and Portugal, I'm going to take a relatively large upset here. And Ronaldo, as much as I think your team is actually going to do very well in this World Cup. I think you guys will flounder against the strongest team in your group aside from yourselves. But in regards to that, though, I actually do think Portugal is going to go relatively far in the World Cup, but they will drop one game early because of overconfidence.
Okay.
Now, this is a good group too, Jakob, which I think this is actually the last group in Group L, but we have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Get them down here. See ya, Ghana. Ghana's out of here. Ghana just gone. I don't know what I'm saying, bro. But in regards to the rest of this group, I do think the English will place top as they are a very good team, and I really don't think that they're going to be surprised by any of these teams. I think they'll play in their weight class, as obviously They have Harry Kane, don't they?
Hmm.
And who else do they have? I can't remember.
They have a bunch of players. Some key notable players that have been left out of the English squad is Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, and Harry Maguire.
That's right, Harry Maguire. That's one guy I was thinking, but yeah, unfortunately he's not on this roster. But I actually think Panama will place third, and obviously Croatia, who went on a good run in this last World Cup, ended up making the semifinals, and I believe they lost in the bronze game to unfortunately Morocco in that one. But obviously, this Croatian team is capable of a lot, and the English will outclass them here. But I do think they have a realistic chance to go relatively far.
Okay,
And I'm gonna click continue, and I guess we'll find out what happens now, Jakob. Which
there you
oh
go.
wait, oh shoot, wait, we get to advance third place.
I told you this is where you pick your top eight.
Okay. All right, lock in. All right, well, Jakob. Obviously, I said Uzbekistan to begin with, so I have to choose them. But who else did I say I thought was gonna move on? There was someone I name dropped. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think it was Senegal. Well, Senegal's got to make it. They're a good team, so for sure they make it. As for other teams that I think will make it, I definitely do think we will see Scotland advance. Actually, I don't think. I don't know. I think I might have said Bosnia. I don't. I actually don't know. This is tough to be honest. You know what? I think we will actually see Saudi Arabia advance into the round of 32. I'm dying. Help! Oh my gosh. Okay, Ivory Coast. I believe we will see them move on as well. Then I need three more teams. I'm going to pick Panama. I think we will see the US. I don't see the US going out that early. And then for my final third place team, I think we will see, you know what, in the US it's got to be Iran, doesn't it?
I guess so.
So there we go, folks, and your picks have been saved, and is that it?
That's it. That is it until the next group, the next bracket opens for the knockout, which will be, I believe, in 17 days.
Yep, so there you have it, folks. Those are my picks, and Jakob, what would you give my picks on a scale of 1 to 10 in rating?
I will be straight honest with you. I liked a lot of your picks. I think a lot of your bracket, a lot of your table would be a lot similar to mine. So I'm gonna give you a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think you just missed that little class of knowledge. But I think overall, I definitely do agree. I actually like your picks a lot. That's why I gave it a high ranking. If you didn't know something about soccer, you just went based off the teams and what countries you knew, maybe it would have been lower. But definitely because you know a little bit, and definitely because you name dropped Erling Haaland, I definitely have to give you an 8.5.
I appreciate it. Well, Jakob, it is your time now to shine, my boy.
All right,
And
all
oops,
right, let's
that's
do this.
wait, which stream is mine? I can't. Okay, there it is. There's Jakob's stream, and I will try to show it off to the best of my capabilities. But of course, Jakob, you got to take the reins here, and you can give a better analysis of all these teams and try to name drop some more players than, of course, I could.
I definitely will. So if this episode takes a little longer than most people expected, I'm sorry, but
Alfonso
I'm
Davies. Alfonso Davies.
get out of here. Okay,
Jonathan
well,
David.
are you done now?
Yes.
All right, so this is my 2026 group stage challenge. Before I get started with that, I do want to say that I do have a book that I was reading with. I don't know if Kyle can show it, but it's the top 100 players. It has a lot of information, including group stage schedule, followed by a bunch of just like 100 best players and all that, and then there's some odds as to who could win the whole thing and all that. So actually, I was looking a lot at this. So my group stages will be based off my knowledge, obviously my knowledge, and then obviously based on this book. So this book has helped me a lot. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with Group A. And remember, when I make these predictions, I make them based on I watch a lot of I watched almost every friendly. Like I was either keeping track of scores or I was watching it live. So I know how a lot of these teams performed in these friendlies, and I will give you a honest review. So Group A, we're gonna start with four and we're gonna go to one. So my fourth place team did solid in the friendly, but I don't think has a good chance. I think that's South Africa. I'm sorry to all my South African friends, but I just don't think that you guys are the same team as you guys were in 2010 when you guys are facing off against Mexico. Will you surprise us? Possibly. But I just think that just for the base of this video, I do not think that you guys have a chance according to these teams. Now, my third place team is actually going to be a shocker. Kyle went with obviously South Africa or whoever you went with, but I'm actually going to take South Korea to get third. I like the way South Korea has. I know they have Human Son. I know they have a couple other players that obviously are notable, but I just don't think that with how good Czechia has been the last few years, especially in the Euros, in the in every friendly Nations League, all that. I don't see a world where South Korea, obviously South Korea could pull off the upset. Obviously, I mean it wouldn't really be an upset because they're higher in the rankings, but in my opinion, this is how I'm taking Group A. Mexico to finish first, Czechia to finish second, South Korea to finish third, and South Africa to finish fourth. I like it, and that's the way it's going to stick.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie, that
Okay,
group is probably the most different. Like that every team is in a different spot than what I had. Wow.
for me, I think Group A has to be the most difficult group ever. I mean, you could switch it a long way, however you guys want it. You guys don't have to follow me, but this is just based off what I've noticed and what I've when I watched friendlies, when I watched games, when I watched everything, when I read the book. This is just what comes to mind, and I just think that I think Mexico is obviously the strongest team in this group. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look at it. I think the only downside to this group could be South Africa because South Africa do not have the players that they had in obviously 2010. But the top three in my picks have phenomenal players, so it could go either way. But just for my prediction, I think Czechia is going to beat South Korea. Now, will South Korea possibly make the knockout stage and be one of the top eight third place teams? You guys will see that when I pick my top eight teams. But going into Group B, this group is actually a lot difficult, not really difficult to analyze. Obviously, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. There's not a chance that Switzerland does not make it out of this group as the winners.
Hmm.
It's too easy, you know. And honestly, I like this a lot, but I'm actually gonna switch Qatar and Bosnia. I think Bosnia. Yes, you did beat Italy. Yes, you do have a theme song that is stuck in my head and I can't get it out.
Do you want to
But
sing it, Jacob?
but I am from Bosnia. Take me to America. I really want to see a Statue of Liberty. Whatever it goes, I don't know. I don't know. Take me to United
Beautiful.
States, whatever. But in my personal opinion, I think Qatar learned a lot from their experience in 2022. I think they can make a strong case for it this year. Obviously, looking at Canada, I have them finish second, not because I'm biased. I promise I'm not. But Canada's only loss could really come to Switzerland. I think
Hmm.
there's not a Qatar has lost to Canada so many times, more than I can ever imagine. Bosnia will be a tough battle for Canada, but I think Canada can pull off that miracle. I think Canada can be one of those teams that does not need to play in the top, does not need to be a top eight candidate. Now, obviously, some people might think differently because Canada did have a rough outgoing in their friendlies against both Ireland and Uzbekistan. Where Uzbekistan, sure, we won 2-0, but we were struggling. But there was a lot of different cases, and then Ireland, who didn't even qualify, and we drew. But in my personal opinion, I think this is the way Group B is going to go. I think Swiss is going to get number one. I think Canada is going to get number two. I think Qatar is going to get number three, and I think Bosnia is going to finish number four. And that's the way
Okay.
it'll stick.
You know what?
All
I
right.
do like that, Jacob. I think your predictions make a lot of sense there, and it's very rational decision making, and yeah, I can't really argue it either way. And I agree, Switzerland definitely wins that group.
And Kyle, after this, or if I remember, I'll send you the theme song, and you can take a listen. I promise you, it's what's playing all over my Instagram right now, and I'm like I'm stuck with it. Like I'm
Sounds
trying to
good.
open Instagram, and that's the first thing I hear. So,
All
yeah.
right, bet.
But okay, going on to Group C. Now, this is a group that there is a lot of superstitious about. Looking at it in 2018, France was the Group C winner. They ended up winning the World Cup. Argentina was the Group C winner. The was in Group C in 2022. They ended up winning the World Cup. So Group C is, I guess, supposedly supposed to be the winners group. It's supposed to be the team that if they make it out of Group C, they're supposed to make it to the finals. I don't know.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's just superstitious. Obviously, I'm not saying anything, but a lot of people are believing that this could be a fact, as it has shown the last two World Cups. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to happen, but obviously for people who do like this one specific player on this one specific country, also known as Neymar Jr. on Brazil, and that's where I'm hearing a lot of videos. I think Brazil has a chance to do good this World Cup. Now, do I think they're going to win it all? No, I
I
don't
do.
think so. And this is why I think so, because there was a lot of talk around Brazil, and I'm going to stay on this for just a second more before I make my prediction. But there was a lot of talk in 2022, in 2018, where Brazil was supposed to have this. They had a crazy team. They had a solid player. They had goal Alisson in net, Marquinhos in the defense, and they, in my opinion, they got a lot stronger this World Cup. But you look at it, 2022 and 2018, I believe they both lost in the quarterfinals. After everybody said at the start of the tournament that they were going to be a team that would be scary and could win that World Cup. Even some people were making predictions that they were going to win the World Cup. Brazil is, I want to say Brazil, and don't get me wrong, I know I'm going to hockey, but Brazil to me reminds me of the Carolina Hurricanes until this year. They just cannot get out of that specific spot, which is the quarterfinals. They can't get out of that specific spot. Now, if the Carolina, you might be asking me, well, Iacob, if Carolina can get out of their slump and go to the finals, don't you think Brazil can? Yes, but I think Brazil is a much different story than the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes this year is supposedly their year. Supposedly, that's why I put it quotation marks. Brazil, on the other hand, I think you just play the tournament and you can deal with that then. But now let's go to my Group C. Group C is where it will basically make the most sense because it's going to be in FIFA rankings. I don't think there's a world where Haiti beats Scotland, Morocco, or Brazil. I think Haiti
Hmm.
loses all their games, and I think they're just here. They're just like Kyle's Curacao, where they're just here just for the fun of it.
For
I
the
think
vibes.
for the vibes, just to say that they're in America and playing the World Cup. I think Scotland will finish third. I think Morocco will finish second. I think Brazil will finish first. And as much as as much as I like Morocco, and as much as I like their efforts in the 2022 World Cup, I think that their team is not as strong as it used to be. Now you can hate on me, you can doubt me wrong, but I just think that this year Morocco's team is not as strong as we thought they were. They have a lot of injuries, specifically to their right back in Hakimi. I watched him play in the Champions League finals against Arsenal, and he was not that good. You could tell he was like hurting a little bit. I mean, he just came off what I believe it was a torn ACL, if I'm not mistaken, and he just did not look the same. So I don't think that Morocco will do good. Obviously, do I have them finishing out of this group stage? Yes, but you guys will hear my knockout predictions about Morocco when it gets to it. Moving on to Group D, and Group D is not really a group that I will stress too much about. I don't think they are one of the teams, but I'm actually surprised at how Kyle took this, and I think I would have taken it a little bit differently than most people expected it. Hold on, I think I did. I just hold on.
No, you're good, buddy. I don't know what's going
Okay,
on. I can
I'm
hear
trying
you.
to fix my AirPods because they keep falling out of my ears. But anyway, obviously, the winners of this one is going to be Turkey. I think Turkey can do us a solid. I
Hmm.
think that Paraguay is actually going to finish last in this group stage.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Paraguay to me does not seem like a team that can beat. I mean, look, Paraguay and Australia will be a solid game. Okay, don't get me wrong. Yes, they're losing to Turkey and United States, but I think Australia can. I think Paraguay can manage to get a point. Now, do I think a point is going to be necessary? No, because Australia. I don't think Australia might put up a fight against the U.S., but Turkey should. Turkey realistically should get out this group chat with all this groups, not this group chat, with all 9 points. The only major down concern I might have with Turkey is the United States. That's it. Because the United States are solid, but I think Turkey will get out of this group with at least 2 wins. I think they can get all 3 wins if they really, because Turkey is a very good team. They have a very young team in Arda Güler, Kalhanglu. Um, they are a very strong team, and those are just two of their key players. Everybody else, they all contribute, and Turkey will make magic at this World Cup. Just believe me. Just mark my word. All right, moving on to Group E, and I know I have a couple groups left, but for me, I have to go. I have to agree with Kyle. I think Curacao is just to me like Haiti. They're just here for the vibes. I think they're just here to say that they're in America to play the World Cup and they're out. Now, my upset is I think the group stage is going to finish exactly the way I have it. I think Ivory Coast will actually be dominant in this World Cup, and they, to me, and I talked with my dad. We watched them play against France's best team, and Ivory Coast managed to win that game 2-1. So if Ivory Coast can manage to beat France, which is ranked number 3 in the world, I think they can do wonders at this World Cup. I think that they have a solid chance with their roster to make magic. Now, obviously, Germany is going to finish this group top. No surprise. But I think Ivory Coast will be second. I think Ecuador will finish third, excuse me, and Curacao will finish fourth.
Okay.
Moving on to Group F. Group F is the one group that is like Group A. I can go any other way with this one. But I am actually going to switch the only two ones, and I'm actually going to agree with Kyle with this one. I think the Japanese can finish first in this group. Now, the Netherlands are a very strong team. They do have a very good defensive core. They have actually arguably the best defensive core in this World Cup with Van de Ven, Van Dyke, Urian Timber. Oh, he's not playing. Um, yeah, but Dumfries is not playing either. Oh my! Oh, wait, he is playing. Dumfries. I would say Jeremy Frimpong, but Jeremy Frimpong unfortunately did not get selected. He would have been a solid right back for the Netherlands, but arguably the Netherlands have the best team. Now, I think they will finish second in this one. I think Sweden will finish third, and I think Tunisia will finish fourth.
Okay. I
Okay,
respect it.
moving on to Group G. Group G, I'm only switching one thing. You would not believe what I'm switching. I'm switching Iran and Egypt. That's my only two. Yes, does Egypt have Mo Salah? Yes, but Iran. You look at what Iran is going through. I mean, they just got denied their visas. They have to get in and out of the United States after they play their game that night, and they have to stay in Mexico where Mexico will accept them. I think Iran has a lot of will have a lot of fight, especially after what they're going through and the war with the U.S. I think all political jokes aside, whatever you want to put aside, Iran will fight in this World Cup, and I think they have a lot of revenge, a lot of fuel, a lot of motivation. They want to prove to the world that yes, there's a war going on in my country, but the soccer team is still one of the best and they qualified for a reason. And I think they will give each of these teams a run for their money. And Egypt, yes, you're a solid team. Like I said, you have Mo Salah, but you haven't shown me anything. I mean, what I believe it was the 2018 World Cup, the last time you qualified, or the 2018, and you guys haven't shown me anything. So that's why I am taking Iran to majorly upset Egypt. Even though the world rankings would speak differently, I think Iran is a much better team. I think they have more motivation and more fuel to go into this World Cup. All right. Group H, and Group H is actually one of my favorite groups because it has the team, one of my teams that I am supporting. I am supporting the Spaniards in this one. I think Spain is arguably one of the biggest favorites to win this tournament, and there's no doubt. I mean, you have the wonder kid Lamine Yamal paired up with, one of the best. They have the arguably the best goalie tandem you know in World Cup history with David Raya, Unai Simon, and John Garcia. All three play for amazing clubs and have all had unbelievable seasons. I will be surprised if Luis de la Fuente. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with either three goalies because all three goalies have been phenomenal this one. But I am taking the Spains to finish number one. My second one, I think this will be a major upset to all the U fans. I'm taking the Saudi Arabians to finish second.
Wow.
I think you look at their run in 2022 where they beat Argentina 2-1 in their first game. I think Saudi Arabia can put on a show. Obviously, do I think Uruguay is going to finish fourth? No, I think Uruguay is going to finish above Cape Verde. But I think don't hate on the Saudi because Saudi, like the Ivory Coast, I think they can make magic and can put up a good tournament for you guys. But that is how I'm going to take this one. That is my major upset in this one. All right, going to Group I. Obviously, I'm going to not change the first place team. I think France is arguably the best team in this tournament. They are like the Spains. They're one of the favorites to win the cup. They have the best attacking team ever. They are arguably the best attacking team in this World Cup. They have Desiree Doué, who just won the Champions League with PSG. They have Kylian Mbappe, who's the fastest player. They have Michael Olise, who put on a show for Bayern Munich last season. They have Marcus Thuram, and then they have Ousmane Dembele, who won the Ballon d'Or last year with PSG, won the Champions League this year and last year. So France will arguably finish first. Now, I think Norway will finish second. Erling Haaland will put on a show, and this is his first World Cup ever in his career. So I think he will put on a show, and I think he can beat the Senegalese. And the Senegalese, they struggled against the Americans. They lost 3-2, yes, but they had their best team out there, and they still managed to lose. So I think Senegal is going to finish third, and I think Iraq is going to finish fourth. I don't know why Iraq is ranked so high in this world ranking. Yes, their most notable result this year in their friendlies is a draw to Spain literally a week ago. But Spain and France are two different teams. Yes, both teams, had a rough friendly. Spain drew to Iraq, France lost to Ivory Coast. But it's the World Cup. It's the biggest stage where everyone performs at their best. There's no way you're telling me Iraq is going to draw again with France. If it happens, I will be surprised. I might even do a punishment if it happens. But I just don't see it. And I think Norway, they have a solid team, and they've been taking a lot of funny pictures. I don't know if you've noticed on Instagram, but they've been taking a lot of hilarious pictures with a Viking suit and then with their hometown club or where they first started playing. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I believe it is on 433, the Instagram page, and you guys can go check that out. Moving on to Group J. Group J is where I am going to actually put these all in rankings again. I think Austria is arguably a very strong team, and I think they will finish second behind Argentina. I think Algeria can make a case in this World Cup. Do not get me wrong. They do have Mahrez, but they can make a strong case. Jordan, like I said, I think they're ranked a little too high because they did have they had a mediocre friendlies. I mean, they lost a few games here and there. I mean, I don't really think they won any games in their friendlies, but I just think that this is how the group stage is going to go. I think it's going to be like this. And now going on to my second to last group stage, where arguably I think I have it just a tad bit different than Kyle. I think Congo will finish fourth. I
Yeah.
think Colombia will finish second. I think Colombia is not going to finish first. I think Portugal, who arguably has the best midfield trio in João Neves, Bruno Fernandes, and Vitinha, along with Ronaldo, Felix, and oh god, I don't even remember their other. Oh, Rafael Leao, paired with Nuno Mendes, Ruben Diaz, Inacio, and whoever the right back is, and then paired with that goalie with Diego Costa, I think Portugal can is honestly one of the favorites to win this World Cup, and they have a strong team this year. Last
Hmm.
4 years ago, eh, you could say they had a strong team, but I think they will do good wonders this World Cup. And I think Uzbekistan,
Wow.
despite them losing to Canada, I think Uzbekistan still has it showed me that they are a pretty solid team. I will not lie. They are a lot better than people are expected. And Congo, yeah, I didn't pay much attention to them, but I'm not surprised. Okay,
Ha.
moving on to the last group before I get into my top eight. England is going to finish first.
Yeah.
Croatia is going to finish second.
Okay.
Ghana is going to finish third, and Panama is going to finish fourth. I'm
Really?
sorry. I know I have friends from Panama, like my friend Louis Philpotts. If you're listening to this, I'm super sorry, but I just don't think there's a world where Panama beats Ghana. Ghana is a phenomenal team. Yes, are they ranked? Are they ranked low? Yes, they should be ranked much higher because they have a strong team and they will make noise at this World Cup. But pair that with England and Croatia, I think there's just arguably no way that they finish higher than that. But I'm going to take this as my group, and I will go over real quick just to show you guys one last time. Just go up, just scroll up. I'm not gonna obviously recap because I already recapped it. You guys can go
Wow.
back and listen. But yeah, arguably, I think this is my best shot at this World Cup. And obviously, this comes after watching friendlies, after reading that book, and after doing some research. So, moving on to my top eight. And my top eight is going to be is a lot different than Kyle's. There's a lot of different teams,
Yeah, there
but
is.
going over the list, South Korea will definitely be a team that will qualify for the top eight.
Yeah.
Same with Scotland. I think Ecuador could. Give me Sweden. Give me both Uruguay and Senegal. But here's where it gets tricky. I think Ghana, despite everything, will go on to the round of 32.
Wow.
And I believe, what is that? One, two, three, four, five, six. I have to pick one more out of Uzbekistan, Algeria, Egypt, Australia, or Qatar. You have to give me the Uzbekistans. Everybody else is a solid team, but I think Uzbekistan is just that team. And that is my prediction for the group stage. Now, many of you may be looking at me wrong, but this is what I believe. This is what I believe based on everything that I've noticed. This is what I believe will happen. And with that being said, those are my picks, and my picks
Uh-huh.
have been saved. So now we are officially done with picking, and I think it's a pretty solid team. I will not lie. I'm very impressed with with everything that's been going on. I'm actually impressed with my prediction, and I will stop sharing my screen real quick for you guys. But yeah, I think that is how it's gonna go. And we're gonna be back in well, obviously we'll be back every day because obviously we're gonna try to recap some soccer games or I'm telling you
Oh
FIFA
boy.
daily talk. But
Oh. Yeah.
but I just think that it'll be a very interesting World Cup and I'm ready. I'm super excited and you guys will hear my predictions in 17 days time of who I think will win the World Cup based on what I've seen from the group stage. So yeah, I'm super excited. Kyle, is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh man. I don't really have anything else to add. I'm gonna be watching a lot more soccer over these next 17 days than I probably ever have in my entire life.
Just know when I'm getting home, I'm going to turn on every game, regardless if you start at 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m. We're even gonna have games at midnight my time, and I'm going to turn on every single game and watch it, regardless of whether I work the next day or whatever. And while I'm at work, I'll be listening in on my AirPods, which I have right now because we're not filming a YouTube Spotify today. We decided since we're just going to leave Spotify for NHL talk when that returns, but we're going to do mostly YouTube with a little bit of Spotify. We'll make that decision on our own time. But I'm
Yeah.
super excited. The World Cup is literally tomorrow. For me, it's literally the next like 17 minutes until the World Cup starts. And I'm just saying, I think we could see a lot of upsets in this tournament. And I personally like it. So Kyle, you've heard my group stage. I forgot to ask you this. You've heard my group stage predictions. What do you think? What is my rating on a scale of 1 to 10 based on what you saw and what I've given you?
Well, definitely like the biggest thing that sticks out to me is definitely like and I'm not familiar with the teams the same way you are, but definitely choosing Ghana just based off the world ranking looks crazy. And I think to someone who doesn't know soccer, even you could agree that that looks crazy.
No, definitely. That's why I said that. I just think that they are ranked lower than people may than maybe I have expected. I thought they were ranked a lot higher because they are fun. They are going to, and they've shown at other World Cups like 2022. They have shown to be a good, strong country to fight. So we will see how much noise they decide to make in the World Cup this year.
Absolutely, but yeah, no. Aside from that, I agree that I think like Australia very well could get third in their group above Tunisia, but I agree. I think they're an overrated team, and a team that's ranked 27th in the world, I genuinely think they lose to most teams in the 40 range. I think they're not that good at all. And that's
Yeah,
just from what I've heard about them, what I've seen from them, and I'm not impressed with the Australians. Albeit they could surprise us all and maybe they go on a run, but you never know, right?
that is true. That is true. And yeah, we will see. But yeah, we will be back in 17 days' time from tomorrow to make our knockout prediction. And really, every day we're going to be talking a little bit about. But right that day before when we make our group stage, we will talk. Before we make our knockout prediction, we will talk about the group stage and we will recap the group stage and obviously give our say as to where every team placed and what we thought, our general thoughts. But yeah, I'm really super excited. I know Kyle and I'll be watching. I'll hopefully have every when it was the Euros, I had every game. For some reason, I love international football way more than club football. For some reason, club football I just find it boring. International football is fun because international football it is only the best of the best soccer. I mean, you could the team was chosen from the best of the best. They have a pool and they get selected from best of the best. So it's best on best soccer. So I just think that's why I personally like it more. And hopefully we'll see a lot of goals and a lot of contributions and we will see. But yeah, super excited. And I have nothing else to say. Just let's go Canada. And I will be bringing my Canadian flag every time Canada plays. So hope you guys are ready. I don't have it with me. I think it's upstairs. I mean, let me give me one sec. I think it is upstairs, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, this guy's gonna run off,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely, I
No.
like Iacob's picks a lot here, and I think his whole group stage and everything looks really good, and I really have no complaints, Iacob, with what you picked, and I mean, definitely after hearing your rationale behind everything, the results, anything else that you had to say, I think I like your picks a lot, and I like mine a little better, but
Of course, we have to be biased towards each other. But,
well,
no, I will say, okay,
yep,
now I will give you my honest thoughts about I like um, what's it called? I like your group stage predictions a lot. I will not lie. I wanted to wait until after mine happened so I can tell you exactly how I feel about yours. But I actually am genuinely impressed at how much knowledge that you know. I like that you picked a lot of upsets too. I think, if it's not a sport, it's not a fun sport if there's no upsets. So I
absolutely.
like how you picked a lot of upsets. And obviously, I tried to pick a lot of upsets. I tried to look at friendlies. I tried to look at everything. But I genuinely am very impressed at how you just looked at it. You didn't look at it on the world ranking because usually when someone makes their prediction, they look at world ranking. But if you're a true fan, you got to look at it from more than one example. Like who's
Yeah.
hurt, who's this, who's that, all that. And yeah, I'm ready for this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I mean, I don't know the injuries the same way you do, so I can't take that into account quite as much. But of course, I try to take into everything into account, like the results I'm aware of from the team over the years, friendlies, everything else I've seen, and I also take other people's predictions online into account too. And what I see commonly tends to be like, who people think are gonna succeed and whatnot, and whether they're right or wrong, I don't know, but we'll see. And yeah, I'm better than you, Jakob. I know my shit.
Okay. Okay. I underestimate you. I will not lie. I was thinking about this video at work and I was like, I don't know if Kyle will make a good. I don't think Kyle's group stage knockout will impress me, but he's impressed me. And I think the fact that you were able to name Erling Holland without me even telling you, like this was not planned. Like you just randomly, like you'll see my face. I was genuinely shocked when you said that. I was like, how'd you know that? Oh, not genuinely, but hey, I'm just saying. I think we will be very surprised, and arguably based on what people have said, they said that this World Cup might suck, But I generally think that no World Cup sucks. I think every World Cup is competitive, and I think every World Cup
Hmm.
is fire from the moment it starts. And real quick, before I let you guys go, or we let you guys go, one key injury that I know that will not be playing in the first game of the FIFA World Cup for his nation will be Alfonso Davies for Canada. He's unfortunately still recovering from
Yep.
a injury that he suffered in while he was on club duty with Bayern Munich, so he will not be playing the first game. But regardless, I think, and also I do want to mention that I don't know if Kyle knows this about Canada, but Mateo Flores, unfortunately, he suffered a non-contact knee injury where it was believed to be a torn ACL in a Mexican match against where he was, playing and he got knocked down and apparently he tore his ACL or something. But we do have a good replacement in Jaden Nelson, who actually
Oh,
surprised me a lot over his time in Austin FC and then in that friendly against Uzbekistan and a little bit again in that friendly against Ireland. Jaden Nelson, I'm telling you, will be a star. He will make noise at that World Cup, and I'm super excited and ready to watch him play. But no, definitely, if there is a player to look out for in this World Cup for Canada, it will definitely be Jaden Nelson. I think he can put on a show for the Canadians, especially now that he wasn't selected at the at the beginning, but now that Mateo Flores is injured and cannot play in this World Cup, I think Jaden Nelson has more motivation and more fuel to prove to Jesse Marsh that he will be the key player in Canada's turnaround and hopefully make Canada some success. We will see.
absolutely. But you know what? I'm gonna mention an idea, Jakob, that I have just had now, and this is regarding obviously the World Cup and everything else. But you guys obviously let us know down below. Hopefully, we haven't lost all of our viewers because we haven't been uploading, and we apologize, of course. But
Yes, we do. We do apologize.
how would you guys feel about Iacob and I making a soccer YouTube channel and actually making it so that we have our, IK a FIFA soccer talk or something. I don't know. We could come up with the name, but let us know what you think down below. Jakob and I will of course have a private conversation about it off camera, and we'll decide if we think it's a good idea. And if one of you says that you would like to see it, then one person's enough. I'd love to make it happen because I think that would be very fun, and I would definitely get a lot more inclined in soccer too if I had a reason like that too.
Sounds good. And yeah, we will talk more. But I'm shocked. I'm just shocked at what is coming out of Kyle's mouth tonight. I'm like genuinely
Uh,
speaking. Like I don't know if it's because the World Cup is starting tomorrow and Kyle's just so interested all of a sudden, but I do agree. I think being able to talk about not just NHL but something else like soccer, I think will be a perfect. And yeah, let us know down below, or we will probably. I would generally think we should make a not a short a poll on our Instagram page that viewers can follow to hopefully, maybe get some voters and we will bring it on stage maybe sometime this week or next week. But yeah, we will talk off camera about that. But yeah, I'm super interested and I'm ready to go.
yeah. Also, let us know if you want to see any other sports, of course, because we've kept it mostly to hockey and a couple other sports that briefly got mentioned here and there. But if you guys want to see, I don't know, lacrosse, tennis, who knows what? Jakob and I can start looking into some of this stuff and try to learn more for you guys and make even better content down the line.
That is what we're trying to do. And yes, like me and Kyle mentioned, we do apologize for not uploading a lot. It's just, with the season done and playoffs being here and there, I think it's just very hard. But yeah, do let us know though if you'd like to see us bring up another channel. We can whether we can talk about it when we're after we're done talking, like when NHL is an off season, we talk about something else. Or we could just create our own, like Kyle said, maybe create a soccer one and just record every game on talk about every game on that. But definitely we will think about that because I believe I do want to talk about every single game, excuse me, every single game in this World Cup and like go over it, like the goal scorers and how I thought each team played and all that. But yeah, we will make a Instagram poll about that. We will let you guys know.
Hmm.
And yeah, please make sure you guys go like. And Kyle, I guess you forgot to show the viewers our social media pages.
I was actually just about to do that, but of course, go check out our Spotify, which that it falls under IK NHL Daily Talk. We post a bunch of episodes on there, and there's actually an episode from just yesterday. So well, yesterday as of July 10th. So be sure to go give that a listen. Go follow our Instagram at. Oops, I didn't pull it up, Jakob. Do. Just give me 1 second, guys. I was very organized, as you guys can clearly tell by the fact that I definitely have this pulled up.
And real quick, while Kyle is pulling those up, I do want to mention that if you guys go follow my TikTok, I don't even remember my own TikToks. Give me
Uh,
1 sec. I gotta figure this out on my.
yeah. Well, the
Uh,
Instagram is IKNHL Daily Talk as well, and so is our YouTube. If you're watching here, it is IKNHL Daily Talk, and please be sure to subscribe, as all the love is much appreciated. Thank you all, and yeah, Jakob, take it away with whatever you were saying.
one last thing. I know me and Kyle are very eager to get out of here, but if you guys go follow Aaron Iacob 01, my personal TikTok, I do post videos where I try to collect these Coca-Cola Panini stickers. They are on the tag of like when you open the bottle, they are on the tag. And I do have actually three more that I will post a TikTok tonight about after this episode is recorded. That I did get three players while I was, opening my bottles off camera. So yeah, I'm really excited. And yeah, Kyle doesn't have TikTok, unfortunately. So
No, I don't. Well, yeah, you know what, Jakob, try to find your TikTok and maybe leave a link if we'll try to figure out how, but we'll try to leave a link on the Instagram for you guys to go check that out.
yeah, definitely for sure. But yeah, other than that, let's get this. The World Cup is starting, and yeah, we will see you guys all tomorrow.
Yep. All right, get out of here, folks. See you later and have a good night. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, everyone.